Happening today, senior ranking officials in the Biden-Harris administration on Oahu. Our Robert Buan live in studio now with Senator Mazie Hirono and U.S. Trade Representative Katherine Tai. Robert.
Leah, thank you. Yeah, it's part of a two-day tour through the islands, talking about some visits with senior members of the cabinet as well as Congress. And we're joined by Senator Mazie Hirono and also Ambassador Katherine Tai. Great to have you here this morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for visiting.
Good morning.
You were just on Maui, and
both of us.
Yeah, both of you. I saw the pictures and video. Obviously, we're keeping an eye on things that are going on there, and I keep thinking about some of the problems that we have here in Hawaii, and particularly on Maui. Housing was already a problem. Infrastructure was already a problem. Then the fires came.
Yes.
So, have you seen some encouraging signs of the recovery there?
Well, for one thing, the people in Lahaina, yes, they've gone through trauma, they still are, but there's a resiliency there, and 6 months after the fire, the recovery efforts are happening, and really the federal government has been a big partner. The federal family of agencies, over 1,000 federal employees have been on Maui, continue to be there. FEMA, small business, EPA, and yesterday was the Department of Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, who spent the whole day there, and he'll be doing some transportation things here on Oahu, so I'll be seeing him in a little bit.
I know we're talking about some of these compounding problems that already existed.
Yes.
Ambassador, talking about the economy there. I know one of the visits you made was to Maui Economic Opportunity. So we're talking about already being in a post-pandemic economy, and then it gets magnified with the tragedy that happened there. What were you able to see? What are you perhaps able to offer in support?
Well, it was really important to go. It was really important to see the community and to see the locality in terms of the damage, but also the progress. It's been 6 months, and there's been a tremendous amount of progress. There are 11 federal government agencies that are all on the ground committed to bringing this community back online and providing it with the opportunity to rebuild and reimagine its future. I also am the co-chair of the White House Initiative on Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders. And going to Maui, you see the diversity of the community, the affected community, but the community on the island as well, and in the overall state. And that resilience that the senator talked about is really apparent. There is an elementary school that was burned down by the fire. And those kids, as you said, were already disrupted in their education through the years of the pandemic, had been back for one academic year when the fire hit the day before school was supposed to start last year. And in 95 days, I think, Senator, the Army Corps of Engineers, working with the local contractors, have put together a temporary school campus for this elementary school that is on track to open next week.
That is, the King Kamehameha Elementary School is what the ambassador is referring to. That school burned to the ground during the Lahaina fires, and this is one literally concrete example of recovery. And there were a lot of local contractors involved in building this school, the temporary school, in only 95 days. But a lot of their kids attended the original school, which burned, and who will now be able to go into these classrooms. So there's a lot of heart and soul poured into meeting this 95-day deadline for the King Kamehameha III Elementary School. So these kinds of efforts are ongoing. And as I was talking with one of the Army Corps people who gave us an early briefing yesterday, he said this is the most unique situation he'd ever experienced, with a lot of cultural sensitivities. And there are dozens and dozens of cultural monitors and advisors who are very much a part of the recovery efforts, which will take time and continuing resources.
I wanted to shift gears a little bit, because part of the purpose and agenda of the visit is talking a little bit about the infrastructure program, the bipartisan infrastructure law, and some of the programs that it's going to benefit. One of the big elements of that is it has to do with electrification, talking about electric vehicles and just building the infrastructure to be able to power those vehicles. Maybe I'm oversimplifying this, but Hawaii, you do not have as many places you can drive. I mean, this to me would be, with the shorter distances, this might be an opportunity for Hawaii to kind of maybe be a blueprint on how you can electrify going forward. Am I oversimplifying it?
No, in fact, getting away from reliance on fossil fuels is a big thing for Hawaii. In fact, our state has the most ambitious goals to be fully on alternative fuel by the year 2045, and we have the most ambitious goals along those lines. The infrastructure support, though, that the infrastructure law provided, and this administration's efforts to support our states, billion dollars.
Right.
I wish
right.
it were a trillion.
Yeah.
$1.5 billion, which is a lot, will come to Hawaii for repairs of bridges, roads, all of the infrastructure needs. It's the biggest commitment to infrastructure support in the history of our country. So the Biden-Harris administration has really put their money literally where their mouths are. And this is why Pete Buttigieg is here. This is why our trade ambassador is here, to really focus on all of the different things that we are doing that will help us help businesses, our kids, and of course, it's interesting that you mentioned the electric cars. My goodness,
yeah.
That's also happening in Hawaii. We need a lot more charging stations and all of that.
And finally, we're talking about one of the things that's happening later today, just in a couple hours from right now. One of the reasons you're here, that's happening at the YWCA. Ambassador, go on and fill us in.
I'd love to. The Senator and I are going to host a roundtable with small businesses and small business owners here in Honolulu, and we're going to be hearing from them in terms of what the challenges are that they're facing in the economy. The global economy right now, today, is very interconnected, but it's also going through a lot of changes. So we want to hear directly from the small companies and their owners about how we can prepare them to succeed.
Great to have you guys here. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for stopping by. We'll have more of their visit later on in some of our other shows and also on KITV.com.